For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a product review on a new driveway awning from Outwell. So with me here today I've got the Outwell Fresno Driveway Awning. So the Fresno is basically almost the starting point in kind of Outwell's driveway collection. It sits along 3 other models in their Rome collection, so this is one of them. And it's all about creating a very built, good quality, a high spec for a light pack size, and mainly basically the basics, but premium features, that makes sense. So it's a real quite nice mix. This obviously it's a fiberglass poled awning, so quite lightweight, packs down smaller. They do a very similar style to this in their Air model, which is called the Santa Monica. So you can always have a look at that as well. There are a few more extra features on there, like additional windows and stuff, but conceptually it's about the same as whether you're looking for the poled or the Air version. Originally, we've got here the poled. So in the whole room kind of collection, we've got this really nice kind of embossed Outwell fabric. It's a 3000mm high straight ahead, runs around about 70 denier. So it's a good waterproof material. As I said, packs down lightweight, but traditionally it's designed in a way that it beads water off quite nice and neatly. We've got 2 main fiberglass poles which are located here. So they obviously be the main hub, and a little brow canopy. Now, one of the joys about the Fresno is the fact that the actual floor dimensions are actually quite small, but the internal room seems quite large. So the main body width is 3.20 meters, and the main is just about 160 plus a 90 tunnel. So it only comes out 2.5 meters to this frontal point here. So it is quite a small, compact size. And because we've got this brow canopy on the front, it means we've got a rain-safe door on the front, but also a very vertical front as well to maximise the internal sort of feel of it. We've got, so it's their kind of PowerFlex fiberglass poles, so it's a nice sort of fairly lightweight but still robust. You just feed them through. What you can see is you've got 2 large diameters, these are both the same, and then a small diameter for that brow canopy. So it's fairly obvious when you're pitching it to pitch it. But if you need be, we've also done an Attwoolls pitching and packing video. Shows myself pitching this model. I think it took me the best part of sort of 14 minutes maybe, probably a little bit less than that actually really. So packing it from start to finish. Yeah, so again, it means it's great for sort of touring use, weekends or longer spells you wanted to. Other things to mention is we've got tunnel doors on both sides of the awning, so this allows us to have access to the van without going through the main body of the awning all the time. It's got an attachment height of from 175 up to 2 meters, so it's a nice sweet spot there, and actually gets it looking really nice and crisp in that sweet spot. Different ways you can attach it to your van, so you either go for a rail system, so it's got a 5mm and 7mm beading, so that's going to fit into like a normal kind of C rail. Alternatively, it will fit into a wind-out awning because that's got a smaller beading, so be it your Omnistor or your Fiamma, anything kind of that, your domestic wind-outs. Personally, I'd always recommend buying a fixing kit if you are going into a rail of some sort, just because it allows you to leave the vehicle where it is, the awning where it is, and then have a connecting part which you can disconnect and then bring it all back in. We've done separate videos on fixing kits to give you a better understanding of that, but for me it would be a strong recommendation. Unless you're not ever going to drive away from it, then by all means go into the rail. It's a much more thorough affair. If you haven't got a rail system, you can basically buy some guy ropes, which basically clip on, well, guy ropes come on that, throw over the top of the vehicle, peg down the other side, and that just pulls the fabric up to it. There is a sleeve which you can put a pole into, and that will clamp into sort of like a gutter rail or like a reamer rail, that sort of thing. So that's really an option. There's also a webbing strap located on the inside here, just to tension that to get it looking really taut. The door itself, like I said, you can open up, and it actually, it's a bit different. It rolls back towards the van, and then you can just, so then that's going to be your main kind of entrance. This then means you're into the tunnel section, which is typically going to be kind of more like a wet dry area. One thing I will mention is actually probably the way Outwell basically manufacture their tunnels in comparison to other brands as well. It's probably a little bit more watertight than you probably would expect with another brand, just because they take more seams. Really, it's always classified as a sheltered area because you're never going to get a perfect fit down the side, but at least the main nuts and bolts of it obviously is, quite sealed and very waterproof. You've also got toggle points located around here, so when you want to drive away, you can just detach it, roll that tunnel section back, and then guy it once the vehicle's moved. High visibility guy lamps around the place. We've also got the Outwell runners as well, which really quite nicely, and you've got Outwell special kind of sort of like storm strap system, we'll call it. So what it is a bit of Velcro that kind of almost kind of overlaps the pole. Velcros around it. That way, when you're actually tensioning the guide points, you're not just pulling the pole. What you're doing is pulling the seam on the actual awning itself and the pole together. So it's pulling both parts together. So it gives better strength, but also takes less wear and tear down the actual thing. So again, it's going to last you longer. All of the pole sleeves are reinforced around the outer scale with some webbing strap as well, just because it's the most pointless. Obviously, to take a lot more a bit of mishandling, for example. We've got a sewn-in ground sheet built into the actual awning itself, and we've got nice big ventilation points directly at the top, and then to sort of increase airflow to make it a bit cooler on the inside and sort of help with condensation. Guide points obviously bring it up front to give us a bit more stability. We've got PVC windows located in the front here to get great vision into the awning itself, but then you've also got privacy curtains which basically toggle up when you want the privacy you wanted to. You can bring them down halfway or sort of fully down to bottom depending on what you're opting for, and there's also a slight tint to them as well, so you do get a bit of air of privacy. It's not going to be perfect, to be honest, but it just gives a little bit of obscurity more than privacy, I'd say. But one of the main things I do like about this, for what is kind of probably in the more kind of budget poled product, the specification and features on this is really quite nice. So the fine details, like all the webbing straps that are on the toggle points, they feed directly into the seam, so it gives a much more stable point to pull from. And again, helps with longevity. All of the doors have a zip along the bottom, as well as just generally. Now this is something you don't really see in kind of what I want to call, I'm not saying entry level, because I suppose it really is kind of entry level products in comparison to like higher spec stuff. But having that zip along the bottom, certainly for a front door and the back door, is really, it's comprehensive. A lot of brands don't necessarily do that, but Outwell do, and obviously that means your main body is completely kind of sealed. You know, for dogs, kids, bugs, that sort of stuff, you've got that benefit. And so you can open it up, you've got a normal door behind there, but that underside point down there works really smartly. So again, you can roll that back. Now, admittedly, unlike the Air model, there is a little bit of a lip into that front door, but helps to give that whole kind of sealed feeling. And in fact, let's bring the camera around a bit more so you'll get a better understanding for the inside of it. So now you can probably see the kind of inside of the awning. I say it's kind of a small kind of size, but it's kind of compact. So I mentioned on the outside, we've got these obviously curtains. So we've got tinted windows. I can just drop these curtains down, so you bring it down kind of almost halfway, alternatively take it down completely, and then that just rolls and sits underneath the window. Admittedly, there's no windows on the side here, so this is going to be kind of your main source of light. Again, I think what I try to do is just to hit a keen price point, is just leave a few features that would be not a necessity, but quite nice to have. So we've got that, but then one other thing you've got is a little Outwell's hook track system. So it's a beading that goes down here, allows you to have hanging points for lanterns, or you can run almost storage organisers. It takes about 2.5 kilograms of weight on that pole. But the main thing, it just gives you lighting without having to worry about having a lantern hanging down. You get little strip lighting that works really quite nice and well. In fact, we'll do this curtain as well. The door section, when you can see at the back, has the flexibility of opening kind of either way. So as you see it here, we've currently got it open from sort of left to right. The joys of this, because they sort of make it for the continental market as well as the UK market, is that if you had, for example, like a UK van, that would be the front of the vehicle, sliding door would open. This then creates a little pocket corridor where comes kind of your wet dry section. So you can put like a loo out there or anything like that. But with this model, because you can do right to left, if you've got dual doors or a California van, for example, your sliding door would do the opposite, like I have it on here. So it means that you wouldn't want to come through this side and then out through the tunnel section there. You can actually more than happily open this side and roll it back into that corner. For the time being, what I'm going to do is just take that out completely. But like I said, about how thorough it is, you've got that zip running and right on the bottom. Now this one here, it attaches from the main body. If I can take it the right way. And basically will help to just drop down. So then you've got no trip hazard into the main body of the awning. So along with kind of your, hang on, just going to do a bit of a rush job, but it keeps it there. So this actually helps to make the awning feel a bit bigger because you're almost incorporating your sort of wet dry area into that main living area, and that does actually, doing that, change the dynamic quite a bit of it. It does feel more spacious because you're kind of using this sort of sheltered area more apart. And now because you've got no lip, it means you could almost come in here, take your shoes off, have your nice sort of sewn in ground sheet section, maybe put a carpet down there, table and chairs, and it becomes a little bit more homely. And you've got that mesh barrier at the front. So again, that's a nice little option. We've also got things like a cable entry point located down the bottom there, so you have your mains hookup coming directly in, if you haven't got it coming from the van itself. And again, a very nice, I don't know, it just sits really nicely in when you're actually on the vehicle itself. I've been quite impressed with it, really, yeah. In fact, let's bring the camera in and get a bit closer with some of these features. So, in fact, let's do a little walk around first. So, as we can sort of see, it sits really well, really quite sharp. You can see how much overhang is from that front canopy and how well it just generally sits. I have low ventilation point down there. We've also got the cable entry point down the bottom here. The door on this side again can roll back so we can enter from the rear or the front, depending which way you have it. We can see the beading where we've got sort of the 6mm beads directly in the channel, 4mm beads underneath it, so that goes in the wind downs. That's your sleeve there for your pole and clamp kit, and your ties go over that, which will then take that over the top of the vehicle. It's almost like a kind of greeny kind of grey. It looks a bit different in this kind of light, I must say, actually. As we go inside, so there's a little bit of lip once you come in, but you've got a blank panel there, ventilation point at the top, with this door rolled away, and you see it's actually attached onto the vehicle about 2.5 meters, so it's a decent sort of depth. Fits really nicely, and you've got webbing straps on the inside here, well, one to take the door, and then one to just to get a tunnel section looking really quite sharp. Ventilation points looking in it there. When you look out into in terms of the actual view on the site, that's when you get your view itself. That's the hanging point there, so that's for obviously, but it runs pretty much the whole way down, so you can even come down right to the bottom here, sewn in ground sheet, as you can see. And more importantly, because you've got that cable entry point down on the inside, you can then just run a cable directly up to your point and then run your lighting from there. Like I said, it's quite, I wouldn't say simplistic, but it's done well. It's minimal. We've got the straps which are kind of overhang, so that obviously, like I said, brings the pole and everything all neatly together. But as a model, I think it looks quite smart. I think, again, for me, for what you're paying for some of those crucial features, things like the complete zipped door and the versatility on the back section to kind of move it from left to right, ventilation's on the side, the smart fit way it works, the very vertical side and the brow canopy, I think it ticks a lot of boxes. And being it's only a 1.60 m main body, obviously 320 wide, it doesn't feel that small, but it is. So for those campsites who are a bit particular, only coming about 2.5 meters, that's, yeah, and the pack size is quite small as well. I think, and weight-wise, you're looking about 11.7 kilograms. So it doesn't weigh an awful lot. So it's easy to chuck in the van, store it somewhere else, put the pole separate to the main body. But for me, it's kind of like the build quality, the workmanship that goes on with it. You've got a 2-year warranty on the manufacturing side of things as well, so it's quite robust. I mean, it doesn't include sort of storm damage or the poles, but the workmanship of the nuts and bolts of how it's put together works well. Nice big fly mesh. Yeah, so there's a lot of plus points going for it. Certainly one we'll look to try and have up on our indoor display showroom, whether it be this or be the Santa Monica, the Air version. But it's something a bit different, especially with that sealed in thing. For me, that's the biggest headline plus point of the model itself. But yeah, hopefully it's been helpful. Feel free to check our other videos we've done across the Outwell collection and other brands, plus the pitching videos we spend a lot of time doing. Hopefully it's been helpful, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. For more information, check the link below, but we'd love to hear feedback as well, so feel free to comment box below, like, subscribe, share the videos, whatever you can do. It's always helpful for that side of things. But hopefully we'll see you again soon in our next Attwoolls Outdoors video, and that's been the video review of the Outwell Fresno Driveaway Awning.